Students, this week we are talking about civil rights. Now, in the first half of this unit, we would talked about civil liberties. So you might ask yourself, what's the difference between civil rights and civil liberties? Well, when we talk about your personal freedoms, or we're talking about the Bill of Rights, which we've talked about at the beginning of this unit, those are your civil liberties. They deal with the individual. When we talk about the rights of groups to be protected from discrimination, that's when we talk about civil rights. So civil liberties for the individual, civil rights for the group. This week, we're talking all about civil rights. The first thing you're going to do is look at some civil rights legislation, some from way back. We call these the Reconstruction Amendments right after the Civil War when we passed the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment. And then you'll look at some civil rights legislation that came after and as a result of the civil rights movement. When we talk about civil rights today, a lot of times we're talking about how we interpret the 14th Amendment. Now, when you think of the 14th Amendment, we like to focus on this part right here. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of that law. When you hear that phrase, equal protection under the law, what it means to you and me today is you cannot discriminate in the United States based on race, sex, sexual orientation, gender, or religion. Now, initially, when the 14th Amendment was passed and with Plessy versus Ferguson in 1896, we interpreted it very narrowly. Now, after Brown versus the Board of Education and after subsequent legislation, our now interpretation of the 14th Amendment is that discrimination in public places in the United States is illegal. You'll have 3 assignments to work on this week. The first one is a simple note sheet. Where you'll look at the amendments, civil rights amendments. The second, you'll look at the application of the 14th Amendment in an assignment entitled Civil Rights Today. And last, but certainly not least, I want you to research some of the civil rights organizations that exist in the United States today. So you guys have 1 lesson, 3 assignments this week. I hope you guys have a great week. Stay healthy, stay happy.